In a world where people long for the nectar of love, where the ties that bind often fray and break apart into a million pieces, where the dreams that gave us wings shatter as we fall into nothingness.
Total steps, 0.
Comes the comedy show. Where love takes flight in joyous celebration. Where families reunite in sweet, unyielding embrace.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, at Deerland Philharmonic Petronas.
And where miracles are miracles? No, come on, guys. I can't read this rubbish. Who wrote this shit?
Douglas, live!
Hi, everyone. Man, it is still so surreal for me to be here at the stage of DFP because you must understand, I'm usually not allowed to be at places like this. I'm not qualified. This is Day One Philharmonic Petronas, am I right? The country's premier classical music concert hall. This stage is meant for the best orchestras and the best musicians in the world. I failed grade 5 piano. I remember my exam, ABRSM. It was a white examiner. So those who take piano, you know this, right? White examiner was there. He was like, okay, play me the scale of A minor diminished. And I don't know what I think I played A major disaster or something. So bad. But this British gentleman was trying his best to be kind because he could see I was distraught. And after I butchered my scales, I still remember what he said. He was like, never heard that before. But I think the writing was on the wall. Because there was this other girl that was in the same class as me. She was 8 years my junior. I was 15. She was 7. And she outplayed me at every class. And she knew it and she rubbed it in. Because we would take turns playing the piece. And so after she finished playing, right, the teacher would be so dramatic and so moved. She'd be like, oh, that was so beautiful. I wish Mozart could hear you play his music. I'm like, Ken, ask her to die first. Every day you can play for Mozart, isn't it? But then when it was my turn to play, what I would hear was this, And that wasn't from the teacher, it was from her. You've met these brats before, right? These overachieving kids who don't know when to shut up. You just want to like, I will never forget her, you know. Her name was Carmen. I repeat, Carmen. Not Carmen, like normal people. Carmen. K-A-H-M-U-N. Why do Chinese people do this? Why do we bastardize English names? I'm sure you've met people before, right? They'll be like, hi, I'm Eugene. Y-U-J-I-N. I'm like, that's not Eugene lah. Or this one. Hi, I'm Susan. X-U. I don't know why we like to kidnap easy to spell English names and just Frankenstein the hell out of it. Like, no, it's not Carmen. C-A-R-M-E-N. It's Carmen. That's why we cannot complain when white people do it to us, you know. Like you see a white fella, you'll be like, hey, what's your name? My name is Lee. Say, oh, Lee. L-E-E? No. L-E-I-G-H. And I'm like, yeah, okay, serve us right. Anyway, this Carmen was a musical prodigy genius. She got a full scholarship to Berklee College of Music in Boston. Yeah, local scholarship couldn't get. Not sure why, nah? Because your name Carmen. But let's not dwell on such frivolous issues. Because here's the situation, right? On one hand, you have someone who was praised at every music class, who aced all of her exams with distinction, who graduated from the best music school in the world. And on the other hand, you have an idiot who failed grade 5 piano. And I'm the one on stage at DFP. All I can say is, hey, Carmen, what happened? But let's address the elephant in the room. How did I even get a chance to be here? Okay, here's what I think happened. I think once a year, they have to service all the instruments. You know? Right? Like, because it makes sense, right? They have to tighten the strings, then they're going to put WD-40 on the trumpet, the sting, you know? Fling out all the saliva from the flute. And all they had left was a mic and some chairs. And the BFP boss said, who can we possibly get who can perform with such a basic bare bones setup? And they said, Siti Nurhaliza. And the boss said, can we find someone cheaper? And they were like, yes, we can. However, I did receive some complaints that my ticket prices were too expensive. You know? What yes? What yes? You sit in front, you dare say that out loud. Worth it, cover now. No, the first complaint I got was ironically from someone who plays for the Malaysia Philharmonic Orchestra. He came for rehearsals, saw my poster, they were like, bro, you're performing at DFP, well done, I want to come and support you, but your tickets are too expensive, man. I was like, excuse me? Have you seen the prices for your orchestra tickets? Have you seen them? Have you seen them? I said, it's 3 times more expensive than my tickets. He was like, yeah, bro, but there's 36 of us on stage. I was like, is it my fault you can't multitask? Right? Do you need 8 people doing the same thing? I said, look at the DJ. I told him, look at the DJ. Have you seen one? Right, this one guy, he handles the drum, the bass, the synth, the melody, and whatever the hell is. And he's doing it with one hand, because the other hand is doing this. I was like, you see, he's conducting himself. So you learn a bit. Insane. But when news first came out that I would be performing here, a rumor started, a very typical Malaysian rumor, that said that Douglas Lim only made it to DFP because of his cable. Some of you understand what I mean. Maybe our international guests don't understand. They call it connections, or friends in high places. Malaysia, no, cable. It's a very Malaysian insinuation, cable. And let's face it, there are many Malaysians who have become super successful because of their strong and formidable cables. For example, what, you think I'm scared? Hey, I can name them, It's just that if I start, that's the rest of the show, Just a long list of names. Some of you might be on the list. You think I don't know who is here watching, is it? But this cable culture is also very bad because it causes us to not give credit where credit is due. I have a friend in high school. This is your very average guy. Basically, he's exactly like me, but lower. Okay? Very average. But then after high school, after SPM, he got into a very good college. And we were like, how? Because you are you are not so, your results don't reflect that. So we were like, how did you get in? Oh, cable. We were like, bro, you got in because cable, right? Your cable damn strong. Wow, you got one strong, long, thick black kids lah, right? We are boys, so of course we fool around, right? Oh, your cable, long, black, thick cable. He would just smile, right? Then after that, after college, he got into a top local university on a full scholarship. We nearly lost our minds. We were like, bro, whose cable are you, How is it possible? You must be doing something to some, And then after that, he graduated eventually, second lower as expected. But he got himself a very cushy job at a big multinational company, oil and gas, no names necessary. I couldn't wait for the reunion. I had so many more cable jokes. I was like, bro, how do you get a job here? Wow, you're really riding this cable hard, huh? You're riding this cable all the way to the top. Hey, who's your cable daddy? Share lah, And that's when he snapped. He was like, you are very condescending. I was like, wow, someone's English improved. He was not having other jokes. He was like, all you do is belittle my achievement. You are supposed to be my friend. So, alamak, like why he cut so deep, And he was like, listen, I did not achieve all this because of my cable. I got all this because of my race. I was like, I didn't want to bring that up lah. Why so sensitive, fizzy? No. But talking about the Malays, calm down. I know where I am, okay? There are now so many successful, self-made Malays. They are everywhere. The other day, I was having a very simple breakfast at a French boulangerie. What? Hey, French people can have simple breakfast, okay? You never watch Les Miserables, ah? So anyway, this was a very authentic French boulangerie in Taman Ton because I think the waiter was French or some type of Europe, right? It was a young French kid, but he was having trouble with my bill. My fault. I paid in cash. He's a young kid. He's probably used to a card or an app. So he just no need to do calculations, right? The bill was 74 ringgit 60 cents. So I gave him 100 ringgit note, 5 ringgit note, and 10 cents. And he stopped functioning. He was just like, like, some of you also a bit blur, huh? Guys, we are Asian, huh? We can solve this. Come on. Okay, I repeat, huh? The bill was 74.60. I gave him 105.10. So all he had to do was give me back 3 10 ringgit note, 1 50-cent coin. Clean lah, right? Clean. I don't want to carry 10 cent, 20 cent. I don't meet that many buskers, right? But Jean-Claude Van Damme was just staring at the bill. Like, He had to be rescued by his Malay manager. This was a young woman with the modern tudung. At first I was like, wow, Yuna, right, with that special purple color thing, right? This young Malay lady came in. She was like, oh, sorry. It was like, okay, calm down, calm down. Okay, breathe, breathe. Okay, so you see, the 1 cannot minus the 6. So you carry over, from the 5. There was math fusion going on in front of me. I had half the mind to say, hey, keep the change, but cannot, Chinese. No, it's not about the money. I needed him to learn mathematics. This is very important, Because I think the issue is how we teach mathematics, right? There is the Asian way and there is the wrong way. And I see quite a few of you here, non-Asians, you approach mathematics in a more, in a more holistic manner. Asians are a lot more direct. Have you heard this before? I'm sure you have. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Have you heard this? 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Asians would never teach numbers this way. Because there's too much useless information. Right? You are burdening the student with too much unrelated nonsense. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, shut the door. Hello. How did I learn numbers? I went to national school like most of you did. How did we learn numbers? Very simple and direct. Teacher point to the board, 1. We repeat 1. Memorize 1. Habis cita. Right? Effective. Cepat dua. We repeat dua. Memorize dua. Just recognize, repeat, remember. 3R. That one can talk, no problem. We didn't go like satu dua, adjust kasut. Who has time for this? Right? 3, 4, tutup pintu. Takut kerajaan baru masuk. For those of you who don't understand Malay, learn lah. That would have brought you so much joy, you know. But I understand. 1, 2 buckle my shoe is a rhyming technique. We also use rhyming techniques in Malaysia, but we use it for frivolous subjects like colours, not for important things like math. Because let's be very honest, you can be bad at colours and get on in life. Cannot be bad at math. Imagine, hey, what's 2 plus 4? Shoe at the door. Good luck, man. We use rhyme to teach colours. For example, we have this one, right? Red, botak, head. See, it's to teach colours. In the process, we shame bald people, but too bad nah, it's for education. Right, we used to have kids running around all the time. Red, botak head, red, botak head. And it was fine. Nobody went, actually, I've got alopecia and that's really hurtful. Shut up lah. There was red, botak head. Yellow, dirty fellow. First we shame the bald, then we shame the homeless. For the sake of education, it's okay. But you see, I actually have a degree in education from the University of Kent. It's a TESOL degree. I don't know why you're looking like I'm not educated. Hello. Some of you are like, whoa. And it was a real degree, okay? Not like cable degree, huh? So as part of my course, I had to observe how lessons are taught in the UK. I remember going to this primary school in Canterbury. There was me and another Malaysian girl, Puvanis, Indian. And then we were there, and it was a math class for this primary school, right? And the teacher was like, all right, children, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. And Puvanis turned to me with a look of shock on her face. Why have story one? Now, in case you're wondering why Puvanis' accent is so weird, she went to Chinese school. Right? So she must have picked up the accent. Huh? She probably speaks Tamil that way. Onna lenda munna nara. So because she went to Chinese school, her math is on a whole new level. Am I right? These guys are crazy. They got no time for stories. Her math is... These Chinese school students will rock up to a math exam and bring out 5 calculators. Pom, 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 pom. And use none. Chinese school. The calculators are there to check. They're insane Chinese school kids. Because they memorize all the answers. Any possible calculation you want, multiplication, division, square root, they just recall from memory. Every possible answer committed to memory. And if you're wondering how is that possible, how can these Chinese school kids fit all that information into their brain? Because in their math lesson, there is no bullshit story about fishing. It's very straight to the point. That's why Puvanis could not understand what is happening. Say, why have story? Where are the numbers? This is mathematics class. You need the numbers, if not, no mathematics. I said, calm down, Puvanis. Don't worry. Then after she calmed down, she was like, also, why must say, once I caught a fish alive? Just say, once I caught a fish. Because if not alive, what for cash? Just take Puvanis, you don't pay attention to that. It's just rhyming. Then the rhyme continues, right? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I let it go again. I could see Puvanis' brain about to explode. She was like, so nothing happened now? What for you tell me? was like, shh, don't worry about the rhyme. And it gets worse. Because then the rhyme continues. Why did you let it go? Because it bit my fingers. They gave up on the math. There's no more numbers in this rhyme. You know, they were like, wow, we counted till 10 already. Oh, I think enough for mathematics lah. Huh? Let's just instead focus on this charming story about an altruistic fisherman. We held on to each other, Puvanes and I, because we're Asian, and those two lines hit differently. Right? In the UK, this is what it sounds like. Why did you let it go? Because it bit my finger so. As Asians, what we heard was, why did you let it go? Because it bit my finger. So? It bite you bite back lah. What kind of pondan fisherman are you? But that's not the worst. The worst, I think, is from Ireland. I'm not sure. I think it's from there. This old man. You know this one? This old man, he played one. He played knick-knack on my drum with a knick-knack, paddywhack. Suddenly a dog is involved. All of that to teach one. Brother, you went one round the world to teach one. And it applies to all, you know. This old man, he played knick-knack on my drum. This old man, he played two, he played knick-knack on my shoe. This old man, he played three, he played knick-knack on my knee. Stop. There is no reason why an old man should be playing anything on my body. Especially if I'm a child. Right? As an adult, how much is old man paying? Something can be arranged, right? But a child should not be subject to this, am I right? And the pervert is getting closer. Because first he's playing on some drum, then he's playing at the shoe, then he's playing at my knee. You know where he's going, right? Wow, like that, by the time he plays 5, he's at my thigh. It's only, oh my God, dirty old man is at your behind. How is the dirty old man at my behind? He played 9. Walao eh! So I don't know, man, I'm very glad I didn't learn math that way. It would have traumatized me. I learned it the normal way, like most of you. And say what you want about the Malaysian education system. I learned a lot, not just from the lessons, but from my interactions with my friends from different races, different backgrounds. You know, we ate together, we played together, we learned together. Some of the games taught me so many things. There's a game called Pen. I mean, some of you know this game. It's very basic. You basically, you take your pen, you put it on the table, your friends do the same, and then you flick your pen. You remember this one? You flick your pen to hit all the other pens off the table. Last remaining pen is the winner. I was school champion as standard 2. I was beating all the older kids, the teachers also I tapao. Because I had a secret weapon. My father's gold Dunhill pen. Oh, gaya mutu keunggulan. This pen was fat, chunky, worth a shitload of money, and everyone hated it. Imagine Jolo as a pen. My father loved that pen. It was in his top 3 lists of things, you know, he loved. It was like a gold Dunhill pen, golf clubs, my mother, right? How did he get it? He got it as a retirement gift from the military for his exemplary services as a helicopter pilot during the communist insurgency. Yeah. I know as you clap, you're thinking, what a stupid gift. Right? A pen. He spent his whole life fighting the communists. Now you want them to be pen pals. Why? Anyway, I love that pen because I was unbeatable. Because most kids in my school had this skinny, light blue kilometrico pen. You know the pen? Very good for writing, cannot fight. Cannot fight, they hit my pen, they go flying off. My pen was that like big, unmovable thing. There was no weight category in this game, by the way. It was incredibly unfair. But it taught me that in life, life is unfair. But if you're winning, don't worry about it. Right? Because things can change. Things can change very quickly. In school, I was unbeatable. But at home, if my father wanted to look at his pen, I became beatable. It happened. Because one day he was looking for the pen, and then maybe he wanted to write a letter. I don't know, right? Like, Dear Chin Peng. like, where's my pen? So I came out, yes, this is your pen. And he looked and he saw some scratches on his pen. He was like, what is this? And I was like, battle scars, Papa! And before I could explain the pen game and how I was school champion, bam! Like a military grade slap. It's like there's no warning one. It's like, hey, what is it? It's a bam! Not like nowadays, the modern slap. Mommy beat, mommy, you do, beat, By the time you, she grew up already. So what's the answer? I don't like the answer. Bam, right? So I start crying. I run to my mother. I'm like, woman, what is wrong with your husband? No, I didn't say that lah. Right now, and then boom, she slaps me. My mom and my dad are very hands-on with their parent. So I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm like, it's just a few scratches. You can still use the stupid pen. What is the problem? My mother was like, it's just a few slaps. You can still use your stupid face. What is the problem? So many lessons. Another game we played, I think all the boys would know this one. Police and Thief. Oh, my favorite game. For those of you who are not from Malaysia, Police and Thief is basically like catching or tag in America, right? But Police and Thief, we play catching or tag, but we play it in teams. I'm sorry. It reminds me, I did this joke at a Microsoft event. One of the idiot programmers was like, I didn't know we could do that in Teams. Give up, But the game taught me a lot about real life, because before you start playing the game, you need to decide who is police and who is thief. And for some strange reason, the police are all Malays. All my Malay friends who get selected to be police, Abdullah, Muhammad, Zachary. That one modern Malay. Huh? Right? Modern Malay, right? Zachary. Is it Zakaria? No, Zachary. But I shouldn't talk lah, because my name is Douglas. Most Chinese can't even pronounce my name. I'm not joking. Even until today, I have Ching Chong relatives. Until today, who cannot pronounce my name. They're like, ayo, darkness. Why your parents call you darkness? It's very bad feng shui, darkness. Very not nice lah, darkness. I'm like, your name very good, is it Auntie Shiting? Okay, so the reason my name is Douglas Lim is because my mother is Chinese and my father is pretentious. He's your typical Chinese ape. But my son will have an English name, Douglas. What's his own name? Lim Ek Peng. How ching chong is that, right? If you watch the Chinese series, his name is the theme song. Lim Ek Peng, 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 Lim Ek Lao. I can see some of the white people not sure can laugh or cannot laugh. They're sitting there like, relax, Malaysia can laugh, okay? We are fine. No, we shouldn't make fun of Chinese names. It's full of culture and tradition and full of meaning. Not all. Not all Chinese names have meaning. My Chinese name, Lim Yu Sin. What does it mean? Forest has letters. Huh? What stupid meaning? Even my family name, my surname. For those of you who went to Chinese school, you can help me out here, okay? Lim. In written form is 1 tree symbol next to another tree symbol. Somehow the Chinese think 2 trees constitutes a forest. Like where? Brazil. 2 trees is not a forest, right? At best, 2 trees is a hotel by Hilton. Okay. So long story short, the reason my father chose Douglas for me is because, as you know, he was a pilot. And the older people here will recognize this. There was a very famous aircraft manufacturer, yes sir is nodding there, back in the day by the name of McDonnell Douglas. So thank God he went with Douglas, isn't it? What was I saying? So all the Malays were police. The rest of us were thief. And then the police would go, okay, tangkap, and we would start running. Because the police would chase and catch us. On what grounds? Don't know, don't care. Not important to have a reason. Police say run, you just run. That's why this game is 100% made in Malaysia. Right? You cannot play this in the US. You won't go far one. In the US, imagine the police, oh yeah, I'm going to catch you. Why? Because I'm young and I'm black and my hat's real low? The police say, never mind, I don't play. Malaysia, no questions asked, tangkap. And you learn a lot about real life, right? Because when the police catch you in the game, you have to squat down. Correct? Which is what happens in real life. I am told. And then after you squat down in the game, right, you cannot wait for the police to chow, then you get up and you continue playing. You can't, right? Your friend has to come and save you and tag you to free you from your squatting prison, which if you think about it, is exactly how bail works. You see the uncanny resemblance, right? And I know I will always get saved from my squatting position by my Indian friend. Mani Maran. Mani Maran will show up, Douglas, let's go! And this would really make the police very angry because he wasn't part of the game. Mani Maran just came from the canteen with his fried chicken. Okay, Douglas, let's go! No. So the police will be so angry. Mani Maran, apa ni? What are you doing, Mani Maran? You are not police, you are not thief, what are you doing? And Mani Maran will be like, I am a lawyer. Now, I don't know if these games contribute to the stereotype. Okay, I don't know if they contribute, right? Police means, okay, Malay. Right? Or like criminal means chances are Chinese, lawyer, Indian. I don't know. Or maybe these games represent the stereotype. Because, okay, what's another Chinese stereotype? That we're survivors, am I right? The Chinese are survivors. We will strive till we thrive. Oh man, we will strive till we thrive. If we fail, go to another country, try again. Right? So many people have tried to explain the tenacity of the Chinese. Why are we like this? You know, they're like, oh, it's because the Chinese personify the yin and yang philosophy. Or like, oh, because the Chinese embody the art of war by Sun Tzu. I don't think so. I think the reason is because of our traditional game, Mahjong. Because I've done research on this. You know, I think the behavior and personality of a race is highly dependent on their traditional game. For the Chinese, it's Mahjong. For the Westerners, it's chess. Now, Mahjong and chess are actually very similar games. It's all about strategy. You try and think ahead, you outmaneuver your opponent, and you beat them. But it's a fundamental difference. In chess, you start fair and square. Everybody is equal. Am I right? You all start with the same pieces. 8 pawns, 2 castles, 2 knights, 2 bishops, 1 king, 1 queen. You execute your moves. You defeat your opponent fair and square. In Mahjong, my Chinese friend, you don't know what you're starting with, man. Right? It's like trying to play chess, but you start with 13 pawns, half a knight, and a cross-eyed king. And you're trying to play against 3 other people who could have multiple queens. That's how insanely unfair it is. But in Mahjong, you cannot stop the game. You cannot go, stop, referee. Cannot lah. Hey, redraw. Sorry guys, redraw. Cannot play lah. It's so unfair. You can't do that. In mahjong, you look at your shit start, at the circumstances that you have been given, and you sigh inside. People cannot know. And then you go, what to do? Play first. That's why the Chinese are what we are. That's why you can throw us to anywhere in the world, stack the odds against us, introduce policies that are biased and 100% against us. We'll be like, what to do? Play first. Because our game is mahjong. Westerners are very competitive, sometimes stupidly so. But they are a lot about fair play and justice and equal, because their game is chess. Now the Malays. Can you all relax? Every time I say Malay, all like, Malay people are nice. They are very tolerant, right? They are very caring. They will be the first to help you. Unfortunately, Malay men have a bit of a stigma that they are hypersexual. Right? A lot of us, oh, Malay men, are you hypersexual? First wife, second wife, third wife, fourth wife, girlfriend, karaoke girl, massage girl. It's not. It's because their traditional game is chongka, where you put your seed in as many holes as possible. Just pull and put and pull and put. You see one hole, you put one seed. You see one hole, you put one seed. You see big hole, put all the seed. Oh, games. So no, as I was saying, right, when the West, it's all about equality and justice and all that. Recently, some other buzzwords have come out from there. Inclusivity and diversity. Have you heard of these? Apparently, it's a very big concern in Western countries like Australia, America, and England. And now, as Malaysians, we look at this and like diversity, inclusivity. We're like, you got no real problems. Like, what is this, right? We're not sure. So when people ask me, Douglas, do you support this? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I think I'm woke, you know. I support this in general. It depends on the context. I mean, in terms of entertainment, right? If you want inclusivity and diversity, you want more Asians in Hollywood films, sign me up lah. I sure go on for the sake of diversity, inclusivity, right? I'm okay. But it did bite me in the ass, you know. Because I got a call 4 months ago from a producer in LA. Thank you. Malaysian lah, right? Married one white fella, went there lah, right? But still, she called me and said, we're going to shoot a sitcom based in LA. I was like, tell me more, girl, right? And she said, we are looking for a character who is a gay Singaporean. Why are you all laughing? What thing I cannot do? I started my career playing a similar character, hello. I still have it. Okay. Just to show you. No, so I was like, okay, why are you reaching out all the way to Malaysia? I was like, all the Asian actors in Hollywood are dead or what is it? No, because we want proper representation of a gay Singaporean character. So we want someone from the region. I was like, I love diversity, man. It's my favorite. So I sent my show reel. 1 week later, I got a call. Douglas, so sorry, we cannot cast you because you are not gay. I was like, yeah? I'm also not Singaporean. Right? And if you're concerned about proper representation, that should have disqualified me first. Right? Because if you look around the world, there are far more gays than there are Singaporean. There's so few. But I know why they were worried, because if they offend the gays, got trouble. What's going to happen if you offend Singaporean? What's he gonna do? Oh, I am so offended. I will organize a protest march. Here is a list of slogans we will chant at the gathering. May I have a permit? cannot. Okay, thank you. So as I said, like, it depends on the context. For entertainment, for, I don't know, fashion, diversity, inclusivity, fine. But for things like medicine, surgery, military, I think just let the best do it. Right? Because the best gives you the best results. Even animals know this. You take lions. Do you know the female lions do most of the hunting in the lion group? Do you know that? The female, why? Why? Because they are more suitable for the job. They are faster, they are more agile, they work better in teams. They work better in groups. Just in case. Right? Is it because the male lion is lazy? No, male lion is meant for fighting. So when a bunch of hyenas show up, the male lion, okay, hoi kong lo, like it's about start. But if he has to chase a gazelle, you're like, darling, can you please? I cannot, I'm tired, I'm running. That's why you see only the fittest, most athletic lions in the lion hunting group. It's a life or death job. It's too important. If they fail, the pride dies of starvation. That's why they cannot afford to include, for the sake of diversity, a fat lion, a blind lion, and a dog who identifies as a lion. Okay? My 2 cents. My 2 cents. It depends on the context. Sometimes just let the best do it. So for example, for things like marketing and branding, just let the Chinese do all of it. Because we are the best. Hey, we can oversell anything. Right? You go to a feng shui shop, you try and see, you go, uncle, what is this piece of glass? Oh, the uncle, this is not a piece of glass. This is a traditional feng shui bakwa mirror. It will reflect the bad luck and the negative chi away from your house. I know, so you're not laughing here because you bought one of these. Proudly put outside your house. Does it work? I don't know. But I know a few of my neighbors have one. So they have been reflecting all this negative chi at me. Are they performing at DFP? No, no. We are very good at branding and marketing. Reflexology is another example. In any other country, that is a foot rub. It is a foot massage. That's it. But Chinese, no, this is a reflexology. Because they've branded it as a treatment for any ailment in your body. Don't get me wrong, I like reflexology. You know, it's very nice and all. But sometimes these seafoods have their heads so far up their asses, right? There was this seafood who was working my foot with a reflexology stick. You know that one? And he was like, digging, poking. And so I was like, oh. Or then he was like, he immediately, pain, I was like, yeah, pain. He was like, this means, you have a fatty liver. My feet hurt because my liver is damaged. Not because, I don't know, you're poking it with a stick. Like, what else can they diagnose this way? How far can this go? Like, if you pinch my toe and it hurts, that means my car battery is low. Is it like, how far? But the uncle was serious, you know. He was like, hey, every part of the human anatomy is connected to the pressure point of the foot. I was like, wow. Every part of the human anatomy. Even my kuku chow. We laughed. He was not, yes. He touched my left heel. There's a part in the left heel that this part is connected to the male reproductive organ. I was like, damn, my heel. Stroke a bit. Stroke properly lah. Lick a bit, lick. I don't think so, man. Because nothing is happening. He was like, that's because you have erectile dysfunction. Cannot listen. Even our food is branded to the heavens. Oh my, if you go to a Chinese restaurant for your 8-course Chinese dinner, what is the first dish that usually comes out? 4 seasons. All the Chinese have 4 seasons. What is it? Hot and cold combination platter. Hot and cold. Even the French cashier would be like, hot, cold, two season, two. Oh, now can count, is it? But he's right. It's 2 seasons. The Chinese are scamming you. That's how good our marketing is. Because if 2 seasons, you pay 50% less. 4 seasons, you pay more. Right? There's another one called 4 Heavenly Kings. Say Tai Tin Wong. What is it? Vegetable. What a letdown, man. You saw the branding on that not. Imagine how disappointed would you be if you went with your Chinese friend and he said, oh, today we are going to order the 4 Heavenly Kings. You'd be quite excited, right? But like, oh, it's not Earthly King, it's Heavenly King. It's not 1 king, it's 4 king. Whoa! And then you come out like, what the hell is this plate of vegetable? Because we don't even use expensive vegetables. We don't use asparagus or truffles. No, what is in 4 of Heavenly Kings? Petai, 4 angled bean, tau kok, grass. Now, some of you are looking and say, hey Douglas, are you telling the truth? Because why are there so many 4 in Chinese branding? Isn't 4 bad luck for the Chinese? Right? That's a very fair question you seem to have in your head that I have predicted, even though you didn't tell me. No, because 4 in Chinese sounds like, say, death. Okay. That's why most of the time, it's true. If you own a building, we don't have a 4th floor. We call it 3A. You see how smart we are? Because the bad luck will come like, hey, where is it? Where is it? What? Here. If we own a house and the house happens to be number 14 or 24 or worse, 44, we rent out to Indian. Who say we don't rent to them? You see? So why? Why 4 sometimes can, sometimes cannot? I will give you the explanation. It's from Lao Tzu, one of the classical Chinese philosophers. It's in classical Mandarin. You will understand when I'll translate for you. Okay, which means 4 is bad. Bad luck. But if 4 can make money, use money, buy good luck, cover bad luck. That's why for business, 4 seasons can. 4 Heavenly Kings can. Fortune cookie can. Don't think so much, just go with me on this, guys, okay? Because can make money. 4 wife cannot, 100% lose money. Okay, then we got this dish. Buddha jumps over the wall. What is it? Soup. Wow, when I say it's branded to the heavens, you see? You don't just have a Buddha, he's doing parkour, Why is he jumping over the wall? He can walk around the wall, he can walk through the wall, he's Buddha, right? And why would you invoke a deity for a stupid bowl of soup? Westerners have this dish that involves fish and bread. What do they call it? Filet o fish. Very normal, right? Fish and bread. Filet o fish. They don't call it Jesus on the mountain feeding 5,000. But then I noticed also, we are quite crazy with our branding of our food and our marketing. But if other people do it, we don't like it. We become very petulant and dismissive. If you next time ever go to an Italian restaurant, try and find a 60 to 70-year-old Chinese uncle and you watch his behavior. Oh, you're insufferable sometimes. Because he'll be there, looking at the menu, at the pictures, because he can't read, right? And he's probably some tycoon, right? A chairman of a big company, because, cable, yeah, and he's there, he'll be like, this one what? And the poor waiter, that is a spaghetti. Wow, spaghetti, What is the spaghetti? A spaghetti is a long, thin noodle. Yeah, I can see. Me. Me just say me, spaghetti. Would you prefer the vermicelli? You mean a mihun? That one I can get 4 ringgit outside my house. Fettuccine. Kway teow. What some more you got? What some more? What some more? What you got? We got. What you got? We got. What some more you got? Ravioli. Wonton, brother. What some more you got? What some more? What you got? We got. I think that's why macaroni was invented. So the Chinese will shut up. Macaroni. I'll give you one. But I think our obsession with food is quite over the top. But is it our fault? Not really, because there are these sneaky neighboring countries. I don't want to say any names, right? But they will falsely claim our creations as theirs, right? And they don't understand why it's such a sore point to us, And then, Singapore, no. But they also are quite fed up with our obsession. I've seen them, how they talk to us. They be, hey, Malaysia, can we not fuss about the small things? Let's look at the bigger picture. Look, our currency is more valuable than yours. By 3 times more. Look at our infrastructure. It's better maintained than yours. Look, our standard of living is higher than yours. And we are like, so your chicken rice sucks. That's all we care about, right? Your chicken rice sucks. We win liao. We win already. Because we invented chicken rice. And Singapore is like, yeah, okay, fine. Take. It's fine. You invented. Okay. But you see, our hospitals are more efficient. We're like, it better be more efficient, man. Because every time I eat your wonton mee, I have to be admitted for mental trauma. Who the hell put chili sauce in wonton mee? Because we invented it. And Singapore again, like, oh God, can we please focus on the bigger issues? Stop being so petty. Oh, and that makes us even more angry, right? Petty. Who are you calling petty? We are not petty. Especially when Indonesia comes to us and be like, actually, beef rendang is our... Say, hey, Indonesia, can we focus on the bigger issues? Food, me, yo. We are not petty. You know who's petty? Singapore. Do you know what they... Okay, I'll tell you this. I keep in my heart for so long. You know what they do every year on August 9th? You take a guess. What Singapore does August 9th every year? What do they do? National Day. So petty. Right? Because usually there's a massive parade. There are nationwide discounts to celebrate this day. There are free concerts. There are carnival rides. They have this very expensive fireworks display. Their jets do the bomb burst maneuver in the air. The whole thing takes 5 months to plan. For what? To celebrate the day they broke up with us. So petty. Right? Come on now. We used to be a couple. Boyfriend, girlfriend. Things didn't work out. We agreed on a mutual decoupling. Now every year they're celebrating. Like, woo! I break up with you already. Oh, my single country. Oh, my single country. Oh, my single... Do you know they wrote a new song for their National Day celebration? This year, Singapore wrote a new song. It's called Not Alone. How delusional. Wow, really, Singapore? You are not alone, oh? Who's your new boyfriend? The People's Republic of Batam, is it? No, I don't want to go on and on, right? But their bomb burst maneuver, you want to do your fancy maneuver in the sky, we are fine. But they do it right outside Johor Bahru. Right, imagine having a crazy ex who throws this big party and celebration at the anniversary of your breakup every year. And where does she do it? No, outside your house. So petty. You know what we do on August 9th? You know what Malaysia does on August 9th every year? Nothing, because we move on. But I think I can understand why Singapore is, irritated with us. It's because they feel they don't get the respect they deserve. You remember this film called Crazy Rich Asians? Yes or no? Yes, okay, we're quite happy with that film, right? But when Crazy Rich Asians came out, Singaporeans didn't like it, It's the truth. They didn't like it because it was supposed to be about Singaporean billionaires, Singaporean social elites. What does Hollywood do? Cast Malaysian actors. What a kick in the nuts. If I was Singapore, also I get angry, man. And we got all the best characters, right? The male lead, Henry Golding, Malaysian. Right? His mother, Michelle Yeoh, Malaysian. His cousin, Ronnie Cheng, Malaysian. His bitchy relative, Carmen Su, Malaysian. All we tapao. What did Singapore get? The cheating husband. And the female lead's mother. Basically the two poorest characters. No money one. In Crazy Rich Asians, the two with the least money we gave to Singapore. How not to get angry? Correct or not? And then for a show about Singapore, we shot so many scenes where? Malaysia. Kakosa Sri Negara, Chong Fat Si Mansion, Langkawi Island. Langkawi Island pretending to be a different island, as if we didn't notice. St. Regis, Kuala Lumpur. What did Singapore get? Marina Bay Sands, hawker center. But the hawker center was one of my favorite scenes in the film, because that was when we got to see our hero, Henry Golding, go into the Singapore hawker center there, and then he bought up all this Singaporean street food, and he ate it with gusto. And at that point, I was like, this Henry can really act. Committed, you know, he swallowed. I was like, oh. But he was also very honest, because he gave, I thought, one of the most nuanced lines in the film. Because after they had their satay and they were sitting down at the hawker center and they cheers, and then Henry went, "What did I tell you? Best satay on the island." I was like, correct. On the island. Because of the island. The satay sucks, man. Because we invented it. In Indonesia, actually, satay was, hey, can you shut up, Indonesia? Everything also you want. Hey guys, I hope you've enjoyed yourself so far. Thank you, because I know, man. I am having such a wonderful time performing to all of you and performing in this space because, okay, confession time, I may have spoken about the country's systemic racism and prejudice and all that. But I've always believed that there was a glass ceiling above me. And if I'm very honest to you, the main architect of that glass ceiling is not any of the circumstances. It's me. Somehow I just lack that belief. It's this glass ceiling. And even when I was doing musicals in Istana Budaya, you know, a lot of people, I would say like, yeah, it's great, but I would never make it to Hollywood, to Broadway. I would never make it to, you know, West End. Somehow, I don't know why, I always felt that the big players would never accept a Malaysian at the table. But in the last 10 years, oh my God, Tan Sri Michelle Yeoh, Henry Golding, Ronnie Cheng, Nigel Ng, Yuna, all nicely standing on my glass ceiling. It's not just possible. They've done it. And many more are doing it. We're finding out day by day. So I don't know, man. I'm not young, you know. I'm 47 years old already. But maybe it's time I got off my lazy ass and all these stupid excuses and at least try, you know. Because I look at them. I look at Michelle Yeoh. I look at Ronnie Cheng. I look at Henry Golding. I look at Yuna. I look at Nigel Ng. I see 5 made in Malaysia cables. that have done nothing to help me. Thank you very much.